in their early 20s are more likely to be out of work due to ill health than those in their early 40s. That's according to a new report from the Resolution Foundation, which is calling for action.
So this has flipped. In the past, it was actually the opposite. So maybe we need to start addressing the elephant in the room. And we can do that by asking what contributing factors have led to such a sudden increase in mental and physical health conditions in our youth. Because at the end of the day, 18 to 24 are still in their prime. They're still young. And it doesn't just start the minute they turn 18, it starts before that. We know this. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It doesn't just start at 18 years of age. It increases up to that point where these statistics pick up from. We need to look at the contributing factors, and we need to look at the statistics from before they were 18 too. And we already know that it's at least 1 in 5 school children that feel depressed or suffer from anxiety. And more needs to be done about this. Off the top of my head, I can actually list several potential, and I say potential, contributing factors, because obviously this is just my opinion. So, lack of time for self-discovery, finding out who they are, discovering what they're passionate about. Lack of quality family time, because if you watch my prior video, we know that most families, on average, across the UK, only have 6 hours a week quality time with their children. Increasing work and school demands with little to show for it. We already know that 68% of working class school children leave education without adequate GCSEs, and therefore go on to either menial jobs or they go into college and have to restudy again, which can feel very disheartening, and it's not surprising after such a long time spent in the public education system. There's also the fact that we're in a recession with the cost of living looming over us all. It is really difficult at the minute for many families across the UK. Poverty has increased at an equally alarming rate. A lack of connection after decades of manipulated disconnection. Food quality and purity, that's a big one. Water quality and purity. Overuse of pharmaceuticals. And a for-profit focus across all of society. The media bombardment with constant negativity. And when we really, really look it glaringly in the face, we can see that there is mass trauma across all of society. And that is just off the top of my head.
On Britain's mental health crisis. Yasmin Bottleby is here to talk about this. In terms of age group, this is a big turnaround.
Yes, it used to be the other way round. So the think tank which has done this report, the Resolution Foundation, says that in the past it used to be the older you were, the more likely it would be that you'd be off work because of sickness. And they've really highlighted worsening mental health among young people. So if we just have a look at the figures for people aged 18 to 24, in 2021, 34% reported symptoms of mental disorder. That's up from 24% in the year 2000. So it was less than 1 in 4. Now it's over 1 in 3, just to put that into some context. And we're talking about things like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder.
Going back to my earlier point, why are so many 18 to 24-year-olds depressed or suffering from anxiety? The elephant in the room, what's the common denominator? And where are we going wrong in our duty of care to the children in this society? Where has the ball been dropped? We really need to establish, and fast before it gets any worse, what the elephant is.
Young women are particularly badly affected. They are 1.5 times more likely to experience poor mental health than men, 41% compared to 26%. And then when it comes to how that affects young people's ability to work, between 2018 and 2022, 21% with mental health problems were not in work.
And the report is saying that these problems actually start really early.
Yes, they do. It says that a young person with mental health problems can really lose out on a good education, and then that can have what they call a scarring effect into adulthood. So it may be that a person struggles to find a job in the first place, or if they do have a job, they just can't flourish in it, or they're more likely to take lower paid jobs. So it has a really kind of long-term impact.
And mental health is actually one of the common denominators that many parents have chosen the path of home education for. And if you have watched my other videos, you will know that I regularly say mental health has to be the priority, because education is a journey that lasts a lifetime and can be paused at any point and picked up at any point. I did my teacher training in a community college, and some of my students were pensioner age and older. Education doesn't stop. It is the journey of a lifetime. But somebody suffering from depression and anxiety in an environment that isn't conducive to their educational purposes, their needs educationally, isn't going to learn anyway. A child in a state of anxiety, stress, and depression is not going to be learning anyway, because they won't be able to take it in and retain the information. It's only by addressing the mental health crisis in our children, which is an epidemic in its own right when we really think about it, that we will actually see a more productive society on the whole. And I will always say it is so important that we break the fight, flight and freeze cycle as soon as we spot it. And for many parents, that is made more difficult by the very system that has been put in place to protect these children. You're constantly, as a parent, fighting against these services for the support that your child is entitled to. And these are the years of their programming, when the brain is absorbing all this learned behaviour, all these experiences they're having day to day, and forming lifelong patterns based upon it, based upon that input of data that they are getting. These are the crucial years that form their motivations, aspirations and drive later in life. It forms the basis, the foundations of their character and who they grow up to be and how happy they are inside, which is more important than anything else. Because what is success if it's not measured by genuine happiness? There certainly needs to be more done to address these shocking statistics and start putting our children first in this country.
Calling for more mental health support in colleges and sixth form to really kind of try to catch this early on. And they say that efforts to tackle poor mental health in Britain should focus on lower qualified young people. They say that's where the spotlight really should be. Now, in response, the government says it has a £2.5 billion back to work plan that includes tailored support for young people. And it also says it spent record levels on support for mental health, including £1 billion specifically for children and young people. But the report is strong, and it says we risk creating a lost generation due to ill health.